Hey guys, my name is Nora Franche, and welcome to the podcast Grateful Blessed Mess, daily reflections for those in the 12 steps. I am a fellow 12-stepper and certified mindset coach, and I am here to introduce you to the value of mindset coaching in your 12-step journey. So if you feel like you are stuck in the steps, if you're slipping and sliding with your abstinence, mindset coaching may help you as it did me, and you can find me at catholicmindsetcoaching.com. These episodes are meant to invite you in to consider the truths of 12-step wisdom and to join in the very real struggle of living them in action. I hope that it feels almost like a mini meeting, and I invite you to contribute your own share on the Grateful Blessedness Facebook group to keep the discussion going. My comments are based on my own experience, so feel free to take what you like and leave the rest. But my hope is to encourage you on your own daily 12-step journey. As they say, you cannot stay clean on yesterday's shower. So without further ado, let's begin. Hey guys, we are back to Melody Beattie's The Language of Letting Go. May 20th, sadness. Ultimately, to grieve our losses means to surrender to our feelings. So many of us have lost so much, have said so many goodbyes, have been through so many changes. We may want to hold back the tides of change, not because the change isn't good, but because we have had so much change, so much loss. Sometimes we are in the midst of pain and grief. We become short-sighted, like members of a tribe described in the movie Out of Africa. If you put them in prison, one character said, describing this tribe, they die. Why? Asked another character. Because they can't grasp the idea that they'll be let out one day. They think it's permanent, so they die. Many of us have so much grief to get through. Sometimes we begin to believe grief or pain is a permanent condition. The pain will stop. Once felt and released, our feelings will bring us to a better place than when we started. Feeling our feelings instead of denying or minimizing them is how we heal from our past and move forward into a better future. Feeling our feelings is how we let go. It may hurt for a moment, but peace and acceptance are on the other side. So is a new beginning. God, help me fully embrace and finish my endings so I may be ready for my new beginnings. All right. So that may have hit a tender spot for some of you. And so if it did, kind of honor that. Even turn this off and just give yourself a moment. Something I learned how to do with coaching was to do what she's suggesting here, to feel our feelings in a very practical way. So I have mentioned this in the past, but in case you don't remember, in case you're new, there's an actual legitimate way to step by step feel our feelings, because when we're just kind of like in it, it's hard to put our finger on it. It's overwhelming. It's uncomfortable. So we try to get away and we try to numb out with various behaviors and things. And like we talked about the other day, when we try to ignore them, it's like pushing that beach ball under the water. So feeling our feelings is how we let go. How do we do that? Well, I learned in a very practical way. It's actually based in the philosophy of psychology of St. Thomas Aquinas, was giving descriptions that our senses can understand to an emotion. And so we do that, and we talk through what, like where you feel it in your body, what it feels like, what color is it? Is it moving? Is it in one place? Is it heavy? Is it sharp? Is it dull? And then from there, what shape is it? What color is it? If it had a voice, what would it say? And when we do those various things, giving it those descriptions of color, of sense, of sound, of movement, it makes it more concrete and tangible, and it separates it. It separates it from who you are. So you are not that emotion that you're feeling, even if it feels so overwhelming and big. and your brain doesn't know how to separate that. It feels like it is its own reality until we can give it these tangible qualities. And then all of a sudden, it gives us a little bit of space so that we can start to process this thing instead of just feeling consumed by it. And so we do that. And then the really cool part is when you get to the part of, if it had a voice, what would it say? There's something so powerful in this part, because usually it's that thought that people aren't able to uncover on their own that is bringing about that hard feeling, that hard emotion. And then that is what we can put on trial. Ask if it's true, or if it's not, if it's good, if it's leading us toward God or away from God. And in all of that, you get to process through the emotion, and you actually get to find the thought that's creating it. And then you get to develop ownership around it so that you can decide whether or not it's something you want to keep. So I guess that last part, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, because we do want to sit in processing the emotion first. We want to sit down at the table with it and have a conversation and look eye to eye. And one thing my sponsor always told me is, feelings have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so that's something that, in this reference to this story of this tribe in the movie Out of Africa, that was not understood by this tribe when they were put in prison, that there would be an end. I often feel imprisoned by my emotions, by hard emotions. And I forget, or it's so hard to believe that it's true, that there's going to be an end to this, that there was a beginning, and probably in the middle, and there will be an end. And it's really hard to remember that. But what processing the emotion does, what actually going through those steps does, is it speeds you along to the end, because you're not delaying it by ignoring it, rejecting it, wallowing in it. And so it's incredibly useful. And it's, they say the same thing here, that's how we get through it. That's how we get through painful things. That's how we get to a better place, and we get released from those chains. And so I've found it to be really, really helpful. But often it helps to go through it with another person, especially because if it is really big, we just don't have the energy or the capacity to do that on our own, or it just feels too big, or we need someone to walk with us along through it. And there's just something kind of irreplaceable about that. And then the freedom and the lightness on the other side, it's so healing. And I want that for you, just like I love it for myself. And again, it's just a skill that I don't think we're really taught. It's not your fault that you don't know how to do this. I think the general understanding is that we have to deal with stuff on our own and just get over it. But we don't get over it. We just add it to another link in the chain that is this emotional bondage. So there is a way to work through it. There's a way to start to release those fetters. And if you're curious, reach out. And if you want to do it on your own, you can. And bring it to prayer, and bring it to a sponsor. And I wish you luck. With that, I pass. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you feel that mindset coaching could help you on your 12-step journey, please feel free to reach out and find me at catholicmindsetcoaching.com. But more than that, it's important to me to give listeners like yourself a place where you do not need to feel alone on your 12-step journey. And for that reason, I've created a Facebook group. It's called Grateful Blessed Mess. And it's a place where listeners can go to add their own commentary on the share for the day, in addition to my own, and for us just to have a conversation or start a back and forth where people can find support in their 12-step journey. This is not a replacement for 12-step work. This is something outside of the 12 steps. It is simply something that has a heart for the 12 steps and those who are in it. And so, welcome. If you are here, chances are you may also be a bit of a mess. And I hope that you can learn to find some gratitude in the blessings that have come from your messes.